Right now on the National Weather Desk, California braces for days of heavy rain as another atmospheric river could trigger flooding across the state.
The first one comes in from the southwest, second one comes in from the south and east. They merge into the coast of SoCal.
People are preparing for the rising water.
If there are landslides, we won't be able to get out.
Even as cleanup continues from weekend floods.
All of a sudden, the water just started coming in from the baseboards.
Why bridges freeze faster than other parts of the road.
Most roads do lose heat evenly. Different story, though, when you have bridges involved.
And how NORAD tracks Santa during his Christmas Eve deliveries around the world.
We then use those same tools that we can use to track threats to North America. We use those to track Santa on Christmas Eve.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
And good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm meteorologist Matt Ritter. The West Coast just can't catch a break. Another atmospheric river storm system is striking California. It could deliver one of Southern California's stormiest Christmases in years. The first storm system arrived in Northern California this past Friday, and roughly a month's worth of rain has fallen since then. It's flooded roads, stranding drivers in their vehicles, first responders rescuing many of those folks. At least one man died after he was unable to escape his car as water rushed in. The water also flooded several homes and businesses, especially in Redding. The rushing water washed away roads, forcing drivers to find alternates. Communities made sandbags available to home and business owners. Sometimes the water rose too quickly.
We saw the water coming up, to the vehicles, and I started freaking out, and then all of a sudden the water just started coming in from the baseboards and everywhere. So, there's really nothing that we could do. Couldn't stop it, unfortunately.
And check out this scene as emergency crews save a baby from a Northern California home surrounded by floodwater. The firefighters carefully sliding the infant, who was secured in a car seat, across a ladder while fast-moving water surged below. A total of 9 people were rescued from that home. Take a look at all the watches and warnings for the state of California. Along the coast, there are high wind alerts. The mountains face winter storm warnings where an astounding 5 to 8 feet of snow are possible. And then there are all those flood watches. They're up through Friday afternoon. Rain could fall at a rate of 1 inch per hour, with most of the Los Angeles area expecting a total of 4 to 8 inches of rainfall by Friday. Meteorologist Ilya Newman shows us where all that water is coming from.
It all depends on exactly the timing of this atmospheric river coming in. The first one comes in from the southwest, second one comes in from the south and east. They merge into the coast of SoCal by early hours of Wednesday. And then look at this, a secondary batch comes in about 24 hours later. Here's a look at the latest futurecast. The rain starts to occur across the LA area. It'll be spotty and showery, but then the real stuff kicks in after dark. Remember, the winds are howling up and down the 99 and the 5. There could be some power outages and some trees down with that, but then the real rain picks up from west to east and south to north. Look at this. By the rush hour, thankfully, most everybody will be off of the roads, I hope, at this time. But if you're not, you got to be aware of that. Holiday traveling, take it carefully, my friends. It's going to be a flood type of situation for a lot of places, I think.
And in Southern California, concerned that the rain could trigger landslides in areas scarred by the Palisades fire. Luz Delia Caballero reports.
With heavy rain expected over the next several days, residents in Malibu and Pacific Palisades are rushing to prepare before the storm moves in.
If there are landslides, let's say on the PCH, we won't be able to get out. Also in the canyons, we'll be stuck, and that's kind of my biggest fear.
So Claire Hamano stopped by the Malibu Library to pick up some sandbags, saying it's best to be prepared.
I'm trying to prevent mud from flowing onto the street on my property.
Adding, after everything the community has already been through, the uncertainty of another storm is stressful.
I'm kind of afraid of the rain coming in.
And in the Pacific Palisades, crews are also working to secure construction zones and protect homes from mudslides.
Storm prep is something that we take very seriously.
Carmine Gandia and his brother Stephen own Gandia Custom Homes and are working to help rebuild the Palisades.
Everyone's displaced from their homes after the fires, and there's a lot of trauma, and our goal is to make sure that the home is protected from water and make sure that there's not going to be mold and other issues that will intrude into the home after having all that trauma, you'll have to relive it again.
So they say they're securing materials and tarping exposed structures to prevent damage and major setbacks.
Main thing we want to make sure is we have straw wattles, we have erosion control. We're putting up plastic so that the water is not coming sideways and coming into the home or hitting the shear wall and all the rest of the lumber.
Meantime, city crews are urging people to stay alert and be ready to evacuate if conditions worsen.
In Northern California, people are still cleaning up after weekend flooding as they prepare for the next round of wet weather. Luz Pena spoke with people in the Bay Area who could see heavy rain through Christmas.
Heavy rain and strong winds Monday morning gave Bay Area residents a glimpse into what's ahead.
The weather has just been a little unpredictable. We're getting more rain up in this elevation than I'm kind of used to.
In the Oakland Hills, sandbags are in place and plastic sheets are covering problematic areas on the hillside. Anthony Best got the first alerts.
Right in my notifications for a flood watch starting December 23rd at 10 a.m., which is all for San Francisco County.
He woke up to a leak in his kitchen as heavy downpour continued to hit this region.
There's been quite a bit of rain over the past 3 days or so, I would say.
Are you concerned about more rain coming?
I mean, I am now. Yeah, if you've got a leak already, so, getting ready for holiday travels and things like that.
Public Works crews are utilizing the break in rain to prevent flooding.
We send out crews to prepare. Right now they're out clearing storm drains and culverts, taking actions to make sure we don't see localized flooding on the streets.
As more rain approaches, crews and residents are speeding up their efforts to get ahead of the storm. What's different about this storm compared to other ones in the past?
Well, it remains to be seen. We know that we're expecting a lot of rain and some wind, but we've weathered these storms in the past, so we're just doing everything we can to be ready.
And the same storm system is going to bring snow to the Pacific Northwest. While people in the area are excited about the possibility of a white Christmas, the snow could impact holiday travel. Jeremy Harris is outside Seattle with more.
It was a late start to the snow season in Washington's high country, but the flakes are flying just before Christmas.
Just playing the snow. I know the ski resort's open tomorrow, so just before the rush comes in, we wanted to come in, just play with the fresh snow.
Falah Syed and his family came up to the pass to experience the snow.
We live in Everett, so there hasn't been any snow this year. We're hoping for a white Christmas, but not yet. But definitely it's pretty white up here.
Some of his family just came into town from Saudi Arabia. It's their first time seeing snow.
So they're visiting all the way from other side of the world, so they don't get snow. So as you can see, they're going kind of wild right now.
Crews have been keeping the roads clear after overnight snowfall, but they know the next few days will be critical. I-90 is the main route connecting western and eastern Washington. The other main road, Highway 2, is now closed for months after extensive flood damage. Any closure on I-90 would be a major issue.
We just want people to really adhere to the restrictions that DOT puts in place.
Trooper Rick Johnson with the Washington State Patrol says they are ready to help WashDOT crews keep traffic flowing, but they're hoping drivers will give them more space. Several troopers have been struck at crash scenes in the last week.
You see those lights, slow down for sure, and if at all possible, move over, give us a buffer so we can, maintain our safety too.
While the snow and skiing draw people in,
seems pretty nice.
It will be important for drivers heading up here to be ready.
And snow is also falling in the Northeast this morning. Overnight, it left a coating across Pennsylvania and New York. This pretty shot comes from Milford, Pennsylvania, which sits on the Delaware River, just across from New Jersey. And most of these areas are only expected to see an inch or two of snow, but in far northern New England and northern New York, up to 4 to 6 inches of snow could pile up. And check this out. Scientists have discovered a lemon-shaped planet. This artist's rendering shows the planet and the star it's orbiting. The planet is extraordinarily close to its star, and the gravitational forces are pulling it into the lemon shape. The planet's atmosphere is mostly made of helium and carbon, something scientists have never seen before. It's a mystery how such a planet formed. And for all the latest weather news and video, be sure to check us out on social media. We also post a ton of content from our meteorologists across the country. You can find us on all your favorite social media platforms. Just search the National Weather Desk or scan the QR code on the bottom left corner of your screen. And coming up on the National Weather Desk, NORAD has been tracking Santa on Christmas Eve since the 1950s. We'll hear how the yearly tradition got started. Plus, some tips for staying safe on wet and snowy roads.
This is meteorologist Hannah Sheehy with a look at the Northeast. Our next weather maker is impacting us today with snowfall moving through the Northeast throughout the afternoon and evening, especially for parts of Maine and New Hampshire. It's going to be a measurable snowfall and a plowable snowfall as well, ending and wrapping up in the early to midday hours on Wednesday. Taking a look at our high temperatures today, much of us sitting in the mid to lower 30s, down to 44 in Atlantic City.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Gerard Jabali. Here's a look at the Mid-Atlantic region. Tracking a disturbance through Tuesday morning. After Tuesday afternoon, it will start to move out and we'll have clouds lingering behind, but temperatures will have a chance to actually recover and be fairly mild once high pressure settles in for Christmas Eve. Now on your temperature map, it's going to be a bit of a split from Maryland down to Virginia. We could be talking about temperatures 40s to 50s, even close to 60 degrees, much chillier further north. And on Christmas Eve, still pretty mild to the south, chillier up north too.
Hi, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Collins with a look at your southeast forecast. Expect breezy conditions across most of Florida heading through Tuesday with a strong east wind flow. Otherwise, high pressure and control keeps our weather pattern fairly quiet across the southeast with only a few passing showers there across the Tennessee and Mississippi River valleys. Afternoon highs will range anywhere from the 60s across the Carolinas to the low 70s along the northern Gulf Coast. Nice and warm across central and south Florida with the upper 70s and low 80s.
You are watching the National Weather Desk.
The North American Aerospace Defense Command, better known as NORAD, has been tracking Santa on Christmas Eve since the 1950s. Emily Gracie spoke to someone from NORAD and found out the annual event actually started because of a mistake.
Back in 1955, the first time NORAD got involved with this, it was actually called Continental Air Defense at the time, so CONAD. There was a typo in the newspaper for the phone number to call Santa. And so a child called into the Air Defense Command, and the colonel on the phone at that time, realizing the mistake and not wanting to let the child down, pretended to be Santa on the phone with that child that night. Since that time, we've grown our relationship with Santa, and we track him and make sure the kids around the world know where he's at on December 24th.
What does NORAD do the rest of the year?
Yes, thankfully we have the radars and the satellites and the airplanes to do our job every other day of the year to make sure that all of North America is safe, Canada and the United States, as well as Mexico. And we then use those same tools that we can use to track threats to North America. We use those to track Santa on Christmas Eve.
What kind of tools?
So we have satellites that are stationed 22,000 miles above the Earth. They track infrared, so when Rudolph puts that red nose out there, we can see him coming around the world. And then we also have radars around Alaska and Canada. And then we have fighter aircraft, including F-15s, F-35s, F-22s here in the United States, and F-18s up in Canada that allow us to get a closer look if we needed to.
How can we track them?
The website is very neat because you can start right now looking at lots of different information we have on there and games for families throughout the month leading up to Christmas. But on the night that it happens, you'll have those on there. And we'll have a call center in here. We get several 100,000 calls on Christmas Eve. I was actually working shift here in our operations center last Christmas Eve, and I was able to track Santa the entire night while the event was going on. But it was quite awesome to see the tracking ability and all the people that were interested in where he was at and what was going on.
And Santa isn't the only one traveling this week. Many of us will be hitting the road to be with family. So we want to remind you about the risk of frozen bridges. Meteorologist AJ Mastrangelo explains why they freeze faster than other parts of the road.
Yeah, the bridges themselves, well, they can ice before the roadway. So let's take this scenario here. We have our temperature about 3 degrees above freezing at both the bridge alongside the roadway. However, most roads do lose heat evenly. Different story, though, when you have bridges involved, because the ground, well, that insulates the road itself, so the asphalt stays at a constant temperature. But as that heat loss continues, more in the way of some colder air can actually travel under and above the bridge. And what that does, it creates that heat loss a little bit faster. So what exactly happens is when temperatures are going down, it takes a little bit of a lagging effect for the roadway itself, the asphalt, but the bridge itself can actually be below freezing while the actual road surface itself is not. So you got to be very, very cautious, especially when those temperatures are going on down. Opposite scenario, when temperatures are actually going up, those bridges can heat before the ground itself. So driving in the winter, some safety tips here from a meteorologist. Knowing the forecast, if temperatures are dropping, you got to be wary of some slick travel. Turning on your lights. Visibility is key, especially in times of heavy precipitation. Fog out there too. Be light on the gas and brake. That'll help avoid some skidding. Giving extra space to everyone, not just the car in front of you, plows, and planning for some extra time. Also some very, very good tips here as we drive into some of that winter weather. So want to be making sure we're staying safe on the roadways.
And another risk on the road is potholes. Oftentimes, weather's the cause of the largest ones. Meteorologist Eric Kostriva explains how they form.
Whether it's from melted snow or the rain, water actually seeps through some of the cracks in the pavement that are already out there and starts to soften the road underneath that pavement a little bit more each time it happens. Then as we go into the next step of potholes, as we get into those frozen temperatures, not only during the day but overnight, that water expands and forces that pavement upward, and it creates a little bit of a bubble in that pavement. When we drive our cars over that, that can add some stress to that already weakened area. As we get into the drier weather, the water dissipates, which leaves that hole underneath the pavement, and as we add more stress with the weight of the cars rolling over it, that can cause that hole to actually collapse. And that's where we get our potholes, which can grow even more as we drive more of our cars over it. You get more of that water to expand and freeze, potentially creating other pockets in the pavement. And that just leads to some of those massive potholes that we have all seen at times.
Well, the classic song tells us this is the most wonderful time of the year, but that's not always the case for people who struggle with seasonal affective disorder, or SAD, S-A-D. But there is a bit of self-care you can do to minimize the symptoms. Meteorologist Audrey Lay has more.
Our bodies are really trying to readjust and get back in rhythm, but it just can't. It's shorter, darker days, and our body's just trying to get out of that blues space.
Shorter days means spending less time outdoors, which in return means we're getting less vitamin D.
When it gets darker sooner, we don't get to get outside and do a lot of things. We usually, get inside and close the blinds and get comfy when it should be a little bit of the opposite of us, seeking that sunlight.
Mental health providers say there's an increase in people seeking help this time of year. Seasonal affective disorder can mimic depression, but there are some differences.
Our appetite changes and we start to crave more carbohydrates, along with that restlessness, the pacing, and really seeking outlets, but like in a restless way.
But some of the simplest ways to help boost our moods this season is to get outside, even when it's gray or cold.
It doesn't have to be us having this really rich workout plan. It can be as simple as going to the mall and walking around, or going to the movies just so you can be around other people and not even having to say a word.
Well, here's some information you may find shocking. Did you know that dry air has more electricity in it than wet air? Meteorologist Noah Hawk explains.
Have you ever noticed on a very dry day that static electricity seems to be a lot more common? Well, there's going to be a reason for that, and it comes down to the amount of water molecules within our atmosphere. That's because water is a very good conductor, just like metal is. That means that electricity, or the flow of electrons, is very easily able to pass through it. So let's just say, for example, we have a very humid day. That means there's a lot of those water molecules out within our atmosphere. And that means those electrons are going to have a much easier time being able to dissipate between different surfaces and even back out into the atmosphere as well. But let's say we have a very dry day. There's going to be less of those water molecules, making it harder for those electrons to move between them and causing them to build up in one spot a lot more easily. We can also think about it like on a humid day, that those water molecules are going to act like a bridge for those electrons to move across and eventually dissipate to a different surface. But let's say that bridge breaks, or we have a dry day. Then those electrons are left stuck to pile up in just one spot. So let's say you're the unlucky one that eventually has to go reach for a doorknob on that dry day. You reach out, and eventually you might get that zap, you might hear it, and you might see it as well.
And as we head to break, we take in views of boats decked out for Christmas in Frederick, Maryland. We'll be right back.
Well, a very good Tuesday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Andrew Buckmichael. Dry weather across the plains for the day today. Got some rain showers moving out of the Ohio Valley out to the east early in the morning, and a few stray showers possible tomorrow right there across the lower Great Lakes. But otherwise, pretty quiet for most of us for Wednesday and Christmas on Thursday. A few of those rain showers in lower Great Lakes head towards the Ohio Valley for Thursday.
It's going to be another warm evening and going into a very warm couple of days ahead. Definitely have the spring-like temperatures here in South Texas. We are going to see highs for your Tuesday, close to 80 and into the lower 80s as you head down south. So very unusual temperatures for us at this time of the year, but it's going to hang out all the way through Christmas Eve and on into Christmas Day.
Well, hi there and a good Tuesday morning to everybody. I'm meteorologist Shannon O'Donnell. Out west, most of the soggy action is centered on San Francisco and the Sacramento Valley. We've got atmospheric river-driven precipitation, warm and wet there in the Golden State as we head toward Christmas week. Otherwise, the PNW pulling in weather from Alaska rather than Hawaii for a change, getting us back to normal with mountain snow in the Cascades of Oregon throughout the day. And that's the scene from here.
I'm Thomas Keyboy, Chief Meteorologist at NBC 15 in Mobile, Alabama, and you're watching the National Weather Desk.
It's been more than 5 months since the devastating July 4th floods in Texas, but recovery is ongoing and it's affecting how victims will spend the holidays. Vinny Martirano has more.
We get no money. We still try to survive. I don't know, but this Christmas.
For many people in Sandy Creek, like Antonio Rodriguez, Christmas is going to look a lot different this year.
I don't know what this Christmas coming now because we got no money. We still live in this destroyed house. She got no wheelchair. The ram is still broke down, so I don't know.
The floods in July destroyed Rodriguez's home. Today, he's still living in that structure.
Leaking water, broken windows, broken ram, broken roofs, everything wrong.
This is the case for many people in Central Texas whose properties were in the flood's path. Rodriguez says his kids are grown up and don't live with him. But if he could have one thing for Christmas this year,
the most beautiful Christmas for us, somebody can provide me a piece of land and I'm home to live.
If you're looking for more weather content, you can find us on all your favorite social media platforms. Just search the National Weather Desk. And we'll be right back. And thank you so much for joining us. I'm meteorologist Matt Ritter. Make it a great day. We'll see you right back here tomorrow for the National Weather Desk.